I remember you once shared with me a unique experience of yours in shamanic healing journey, and it was truly fascinating. I can still remember it vividly even to this day, including your story of going to Central Desert and Amazon rainforest for further training and divine testing. Now, Orion, would you be willing to share with our audience your journey of learning shamanic healing and how you become an initiated shaman?
Thank you. Yes. So in my adult life, I went through the Australian Army and I went through officer training, and I became a warrior. I went through that process, and I spent 11 years in the military. And when I came out, about 2 years after, I had a complete breakdown. I went into a catatonic state. That morning when this happened, it took me an hour to get to work that day. It took me 8 hours to get home. 2 years later, of hell on earth, I was written off by medical science, and I had read that when people have a drowning experience, they get a video of their life and where they're at, and that's what I got. I got a video of my life one morning, and it showed me that I was in the wrong place, and if I was going to continue going down that path, then my life was not worth living. But if I followed the path of my heart, whatever that meant, then my life was worth living. So I decided to take that journey.
So you have experienced a near-death experience.
That's correct.
And this happened when you are in the military as a soldier.
That's correct.
And you see like a movie playing of your whole life,
yes.
running in front of.
Yes.
And what else did you see apart from the video?
No, it was just that, and then after that I did a men's course, and the men's course also included breath work and hyperventilating, where we breathe very quickly.
Yeah.
I went into an altered state of consciousness, and this was here in Australia. And the next thing, I'm on a prairie in North America.
So your conscious has moved from Australia to
and I'm in North America, like I'm sitting here today,
yeah.
and there are two buffalo running straight at me. And I thought, my goodness, I'm going to get run over. But they parted at the last moment, and there was a Native American medicine man saying, come this way. And I followed the Native American medicine man into a teepee, and then we did some ritual there and other things. And then I came out of that, and I arrived in my mind back here in Australia and thought, wow, that's different. And then I started that journey. And I went to see a lady and a psychic, and when I walked in, she said, oh, yes, she said, you're here from Orion, and you're here to change the consciousness of the planet. And I thought, wow, that's pretty big. Anyway, I let go of that, and then I started that journey. There's an old Zen saying, is when the student is ready, the master appears.
Yeah.
And the next thing, I'm in America, in Colorado, working with Richard Runningdeer, my first teacher. And I learned about the Native American ways. I learned about sweat lodge. I learned about Native American healing, Native American history, and I worked really, really well with Richard. And we formed a wonderful, lasting friendship.
Yeah, so he is your first teacher.
He's my first teacher.
Yeah.
Then I came back to Australia, and then I had an opportunity to go to the Central Desert in Australia.
Well, that's like in the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere, and working with the Pitjantjatjara people, the traditional owners of Uluru and Katajuda. And with the Pitjantjatjara, I learned about dancing the land. I learned about healing the Australian Indigenous ways. And working with the land and working with the spirit of the land. One of the things my teacher said to me, he said, oh, we want you to take on the dream land. I said, I can't possibly do that. And he said, well, what you need to understand is that the spirit of the land is available to anybody that walks on it.
Oh,
and that changed my whole view on that process. So I finished with the Pitjantjatjara, and then Dr. Raphael Locke, a double PhD in anthropology and psychology, and also a medical doctor, came back to Australia. He was worked in the United States as an anthropologist, and I studied under him for 5 years.
And he is your third teacher?
He's my third teacher. And then I had 40 days in the desert in learning through him and the desert ways and the ways of teaching from right around the world, because he was an anthropologist. And it was there then that I was first initiated. I went into the Simpson Desert in Australia for 10 days with just water.
Oh, that's your first initiation.
And that was my first initiation.
Yeah. So it's actually after the three teachers teaching.
Yes.
And you go through your first initiation.
Yeah. So the period of time was I had 3 masters over a 14-year period.
Yeah, 14 years of learning.
Yes.
And then starts your first initiations.
That's correct.
So how is your first initiation?
It was tough.
What did you actually do over there? In the Simpson Desert, right?
Yeah, it's about being in the desert and connecting with the spirit of the desert.
Yeah, and then how you survive with only water, with no food?
You can do that.
Like meditations for the whole...
meditation, all of that. It's interesting, when my mind knew that there was going to be no food, I didn't get hungry.
So actually you meditate for the whole period of time.
Yeah.
And receiving guidance and learning your lessons.
Yeah.
What's the lessons that you learned in the desert?
Patience,
and
endurance, strength, courage, determination.
So it's nothing that you can learn on the textbooks, I believe.
No.
It's from your experience, true
from
experience.
Your experience, that's correct.
And also you mentioned about surrender.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you surrender in the desert?
Well, when my journey with surrender actually came in the Amazon. Kali, the Hindu goddess of death, took me to my last breath.
So you went to Amazon rainforest for another initiation.
Yeah, that's
and
correct.
This is the second initiation.
That's
that
correct.
You had.
And Kali, the Hindu goddess of death, took me to my last breath. And I got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore, and I said, I will surrender my life. I'm finished now. Take my life. I can't take this anymore. And it stopped. And the lesson for me was that as a trained soldier, I would rather die than surrender.
True. That's really soldiers.
Yeah, I'd rather die than surrender. And so when I surrendered my life, the whole process stopped, and then I understood that the journey for the shaman is to surrender your life and be reborn. And so that's what happened with me.
Wow. So everyone will experience different things according to what their life challenges.
Yes.
So if I go there, I will probably experience a whole different things as you if I go to the rainforest to receive the divine
and what's interesting is that there have been a lot of Chinese people that have come to the Amazon to experience
Peru,
this in Peru. So the whole world is now starting to wake up to what's called plant medicine. And the medicine that you take in the Amazon, and it comes from there, is ayahuasca.
Yep. And then what's special about ayahuasca? I think it will cause illusion, right?
Yeah, ayahuasca is a hallucinogen, and it's a master teaching plant.
But it only be the master teaching plant if it's used under guidance by medicine man and woman.
That's correct.
Like if you use it and if you drink it like by no guidance, I think it will cause nothing.
Well, I don't know, but it can give you a dark night of the soul, and you need to be very careful using plant medicine. Yes?
Yeah, I have heard that there are some people secretly bring the planet to somewhere and gather a group of people and then start taking the herbs, and then it didn't turns out good, like
No.
But
so
I think
when it's done under ritual and under guidance with people who know the medicine. Don Hector, who I work with, has had 40 years experience in facilitating these journeys, and the good thing about Don Hector is that he has the ability that if someone's having a bad time, he can go in and shut the medicine down energetically so that everybody's safe.
Oh, okay, I see. It need to be cautiously used by the professional people.
That's correct.
And they need to be trained and know the medicine very well so they can monitor the whole process.
That is correct. That's correct, yeah.
So that it can serve you for the highest good to help you to overcome your life challenge.
That is correct, yes.
That's such astonishing and a unique life experience.
Yeah.
There are not many healers who have these encounters, and even fewer people who have gone through a complete a near-death experience
Yes.
and be reborn as a healer.
Yes.
And yeah, and through listening to your life story, I think it reinforced to me that the hardship in life are not meant to torture or punish a people, but rather act like a guidance
Yes.
to provide a direction for
Yes.
where you should be heading
Yes.
to in life.
Yes.
And yeah, and I think through your experience, you have understand your mission in life. You know, although you have, you know, spent many years on searching for it
Yes.
and changing your
Yes.
role from a soldier to a healer.
Yes.
But yeah, but you realize that this is the true meaning of your life,
Yes.
being a healer and helping the
That's
earth,
correct.
and eventually embarked onto
Yes.
your shamanic healing
Yes.
journey.
There-
And that's fantastic.
Yes, there's a lovely saying: the trees can't grow to the heavens unless its roots are firmly grounded in hell.
That's very deep meaning sentence.
Yes.
Hope the audience can have a bit reflection on this